A woman sat at her desk. The time was 3:47 in the afternoon, a quiet moment between tasks. She felt a little tired, her energy dipping low. Her hand reached out and closed around a sweet Danish pastry. Its surface gleamed with sugar, catching the office light. She brought it to her lips. The first bite sent a hidden message through her body, a signal she could not see or feel. It was the start of many small, unseen changes that would slowly begin to reshape her brain. The sugar crystals dissolved quickly on her tongue. That sweet taste, which humans have loved for millions of years, immediately sent signals to special taste parts of her brain. These signals traveled very fast. But the most important action happened deeper, in parts of the brain that work without us knowing it. A group of cells there, like a tiny factory, woke up. These cells make a powerful brain chemical called dopamine. In just a few milliseconds after that first taste, before the sugar even entered her blood, dopamine rushed out. It went to the brain's reward center. This rush of dopamine creates a feeling of pleasure and tells the brain, "This is good. You need more of this. Remember to find this again." The brief joy and satisfaction she felt were just the brain's way of saying, "Pay attention. This helps you survive." But here is a strange truth in this moment. The very system that helped her ancestors find food to survive, in a world where food was hard to find, is now a problem.
In our world, where sweet foods are everywhere, this system can slowly hurt our minds. It can make it harder for us to think clearly, to learn new things, and to remember important details. That small Danish, eaten without a second thought, was secretly working against the health of her brain. This chapter starts to explain why sugar is not just a food. It is a very strong biological force. This force can change how our brains work. It warns us that eating sugar can threaten our ability to think and remember well. Why can a simple, sweet snack have such a powerful effect? Why does it have the power to slowly damage the brain, which is the organ that truly makes us human? This is the mystery we will look into. 2. The old food. Let us go back in time, about 6 million years. Our very old ancestors lived in the green forests of Africa. They swung between trees looking for food. In that ancient world, sugar was a very special thing. It was not easy to find. Sweet fruit grew sometimes, but not always. Finding ripe, sweet fruit was like finding a great treasure. It gave them energy to live and be strong. People who could find sweet fruit and remember where it grew had a big advantage. They lived longer and had more children. Over many, many generations, natural selection made our brains love sweetness. Our brains learned that sweet food meant survival. This is why our bodies still feel happy when we taste sugar.
It's because our brain system for rewards, which uses a chemical called dopamine, became very active when we ate sugar. This made us want to find it again and again. Imagine an early human finding a honey cache. This rare treat gave a lot of energy. Our ancestors might have eaten only 20 to 30 pounds of sugar in a whole year. This sugar came from natural fruits, which also had fiber. The fiber slowed down how fast the body took in the sugar. But look at today. The world has changed a lot. Our brains are still mostly the same as they were millions of years ago, but now sugar is everywhere. It is in many foods we eat every day, not just fruit. It is in bread, pasta sauces, and almost every processed snack. The average person today eats about 152 pounds of sugar in a year. This is much, much more than our ancestors ate. Scientists call this an evolutionary mismatch. Our old brains are not ready for so much sugar. Our brains still tell us to eat as much sugar as we can because long ago that helped us survive. But today, with sugar all around us, this old brain signal makes us sick. Dr. Fernando Gomez Pinilla, a neuroscientist at UCLA, says our brains are wired to eat a lot when food is available. This was good for survival, but now it causes problems. The power that once helped us live now harms our minds. 3. Why we like it. Our brains have a special system that helps us want things we need to survive.
This system uses a chemical messenger called dopamine. When we do something good for our body, like eating food, dopamine gives us a feeling of pleasure. It tells our brain, "This is important. You should remember this. Do it again." A key part of this system is called the nucleus accumbens. You can think of it like a biological slot machine in our brain. It tells us what to seek out and repeat. When we taste sugar, even before it fully enters our body, a small group of cells deep in our brain quickly starts making dopamine. These cells are like dopamine factories. The dopamine then travels fast to the nucleus accumbens. This rapid flood of dopamine sends a strong message. Sugar is very good. Get more of it. This quick pleasure makes us want sugary foods again and again. This strong reaction makes sugar act in a way that is similar to some addictive drugs. Studies have shown that when animals eat sugar often, it releases dopamine in the nucleus accumbens. This is the same part of the brain and the same type of response that drugs like cocaine, amphetamine, and heroin produce. Sugar also works with special proteins in our brain called mu-opioid receptors. These receptors normally respond to our body's own natural pain relievers. When sugar activates these receptors, it makes the pleasure from sweetness even stronger. This creates a very powerful, rewarding feeling in the brain, much like what happens with certain drugs.
Usually, if we receive the same reward many times, our brain starts to get used to it. The dopamine response becomes weaker because the brain learns it's not new or surprising. But sugar is different. When we eat sugar sometimes, not all the time, our brain does not seem to get used to it. It gives us a strong dopamine rush almost every single time. Our brain keeps treating sugar as if it's new, very important, and always worth seeking. This process helps explain why our brain never seems to get tired of sugar. It always makes us crave more. However, this constant strong signaling creates a problem. To protect itself from too much dopamine, the brain starts to reduce the number of dopamine receptors in the nucleus accumbens. With fewer receptors, the same amount of sugar now produces less of a dopamine signal. This is called tolerance. It means we need more sugar to feel the same level of reward or pleasure. The basic feeling of normal shifts lower. Without sugar, people might feel a sense of something missing, becoming irritable or foggy. Another sugary snack might not make them feel happy. It may only bring them back to a feeling of being neutral. This creates a challenging situation. The more sugar we eat, the less pleasure it gives, and the more we need to simply feel normal. We stop eating sugar for joy and start eating it to avoid feeling bad.
As these important dopamine receptors disappear due to too much stimulation, a big question remains. How can we ever feel truly normal or experience natural pleasure again. 4. The secret plan. Howard Moskowitz was a scientist in the 1970s. He studied how people reacted to different tastes. His job was to understand why people liked some foods more than others. He worked for the U.S. Army first. Then he started working with food companies. Moskowitz found something important. For many tastes, like sweet, salty, or fatty, there was one exact point where people liked the food the most. He called this the bliss point. Imagine a line showing how much sugar is in food, and another line showing how much people like it. The bliss point is the highest point on the liking line. It is the perfect amount. Food companies quickly understood that Moskowitz's work was very helpful. He used complex math to test many versions of a product. Each version had slightly different amounts of sugar, salt, and fat. He did thousands of taste tests. This helped companies find the bliss point for their foods. It allowed them to create products that were almost impossible to stop eating. For example, he helped make Prego spaghetti sauce very popular by finding the right balance of ingredients. He went on to work with big companies like Dr. Pepper and Pepsi, changing how many common foods tasted. The bliss point was not just about making food taste good.
It was also about making people want to eat more. Our brains normally tell us to stop eating when we have had enough of a certain taste. This is called sensory-specific satiety. But foods made to hit the bliss point delay or prevent this stop eating signal. They activate different reward parts of the brain at the same time. Sugar, fat, and salt work together very strongly. The way food feels in your mouth, called mouthfeel, was also made perfect. Things like crunch, how fats melt, or how sugar bursts with flavor all play a part. These carefully designed foods are called hyperpalatable because they give more reward than natural foods. Over time, food companies slowly added more and more sugar to many products, often without people really noticing. Moskowitz said his work just made food delicious. He said it did not make people addicted. But there is a conflict. When food is designed to make you want more, to ignore your brain's stop signals, and to make you need more to feel good, is it really just delicious? Or does it become something more, something that works against human health? This is the core of the problem. Science used to engineer desire, making it harder for people to choose what is healthy. 5. Why we want more. The question of whether sugar is truly addictive is a big debate among scientists. It is a very important discussion because it has effects on how governments make rules about food. It also changes how we think about taking personal responsibility for what we eat. Some experts say that sugar acts a lot like other substances that cause addiction. Studies on animals show that sugar can cause 4 main signs of addiction. These signs are eating too much, binging, feeling sick when stopping, withdrawal, wanting it very badly, craving, and being more open to other addictive things. For instance, rats given sugar for only a short time will eat very large amounts of it. This is like binge eating. When these rats stop getting sugar, they show clear signs of feeling bad. Their teeth might chatter, they can feel anxious, and their body temperature can drop. They often do not want to explore new places. These are similar behaviors seen when people stop using drugs. Also, studies on pigs showed changes in their brains after they drank sugar water for just 12 days. Their brains started to expect sugar so much that this expectation alone changed their brain chemistry. This leads to a difficult situation, a kind of trap. Your brain starts to need more and more sugar to get the same good feeling. This is called tolerance, like with drugs. If you don't have sugar, you might feel a fog in your head. You can feel tired, irritable, or just not normal. Scientists call this a deficit state. When you eat sugar again, it doesn't make you feel happy or great. It only brings you back to feeling normal. So over time, you are not eating sugar for pleasure anymore.
You are eating it simply to avoid feeling bad or unwell. This is a very cruel trick your body learns. With these changes happening in our brains, a big question comes up. Do we truly have control over our choices when our brain chemistry has been altered? The part of our brain responsible for good decision-making, planning, and stopping impulses is called the prefrontal cortex. This part needs a lot of energy to work well. But chronic sugar eating can cause swelling in the brain, make cells resistant to insulin, and lower important brain chemicals. All of these things can harm the prefrontal cortex. When this happens, it becomes much harder to make choices that are good for us in the long run. It makes us wonder if our willpower can still exist in the same way when our brain has been so fundamentally changed by what we eat and drink. 6. Why it is bad. Many people know sugar is not good for their body, but it is also very bad for your brain. Some scientists even say that Alzheimer's disease, which makes people forget things and lose their way, can be called type 3 diabetes of the brain. This means that the brain cannot use sugar, glucose, properly for energy, even if there is enough sugar in your blood. Brain cells need this energy to work well, but too much sugar stops them from getting what they need. They become starved and damaged. This is why people who have regular diabetes often have a much higher chance of getting Alzheimer's later in life, because sugar changes how the brain works over time. Your brain has a special protection called the blood-brain barrier. This barrier acts like a strong wall to keep harmful things out of your brain. But when you eat a lot of sugar, this important wall can get weak and begin to leak. Small bad things called inflammatory molecules can then cross into your brain. These molecules cause swelling and damage, like a quiet fire burning inside your head. This fire, or inflammation, is very bad for the hippocampus, which is the part of your brain that helps you make and store new memories. When the hippocampus is inflamed, it becomes hard to learn and remember things, making your thoughts feel foggy and unclear. Another big problem caused by sugar is what it does to a special protein called BDNF. You can think of BDNF as a special fertilizer for your brain cells. It helps your brain cells grow strong, stay healthy, and make new connections with each other. These connections are very important for all learning, thinking, and memory. When you eat too much sugar, your brain makes much less BDNF. This is like a beautiful garden that does not get enough water and food. The plants cannot grow well and might even die. In your brain, this means cells cannot build and keep new memories, and older memories might even start to fade away. The scary part is that this damage can start long before you feel sick or notice any memory problems. Your brain can be hurting from too much sugar for many years, even decades, before you start to forget names or have trouble finding words. A person might feel completely healthy and normal, but inside their brain,
sugar is slowly causing hidden damage. Special brain scans can sometimes show these problems early, even when a person feels fine. This means the bad effects of sugar are often silent, working against your mind and memory without you knowing for a very long time. It is a quiet but serious threat to your future mental health. How you feel. Many people know the feeling. It is afternoon, maybe 3 o'clock. You feel tired and cannot focus. You might also feel annoyed or angry for no clear reason. This common feeling has a biological cause. After you eat something with a lot of sugar, your body makes much insulin. This insulin moves sugar out of your blood. Sometimes it moves too much sugar, and your blood sugar becomes very low. When your brain does not get enough sugar, it sends a warning. Your body then releases stress hormones. This can make you feel anxious or hangry, a mix of hungry and angry. There is also a clear link between eating a lot of sugar and feeling sad or worried. Studies show that people who eat more sugary foods often have a higher risk of depression and anxiety. This is not just because they feel bad and then eat sugar to feel better. High sugar intake can actually cause problems in the brain that lead to these negative feelings. For example, sugar can cause inflammation in the brain. It also lowers something called BDNF, which helps brain cells grow and stay healthy. Low BDNF is consistently seen in people with depression. Also, the brain can become resistant to insulin. This means brain cells do not get enough energy, making it hard to keep a good mood. Your stomach and your brain talk to each other all the time. This special connection is called the gut-brain axis. Inside your stomach, there are trillions of tiny living things called bacteria. They are very important for your overall health. When you eat a lot of sugar, you change these bacteria. The bad bacteria that love sugar tend to grow more. These changes in stomach bacteria can send different signals to your brain. These signals can directly affect how you feel. Some bacteria even make chemicals that influence your emotions, making you feel more sad or anxious. This all creates a difficult and cruel cycle. When you feel sad, stressed, or low, you might want to eat something sweet. Sugar gives a quick burst of pleasure by releasing a brain chemical called dopamine. This makes you feel better for a short time. But this quick fix makes the underlying problem worse in the long run. The sugar makes your brain work less well, causing more sadness and worry.
Then you crave more sugar, and the cycle continues. You eat sugar to stop feeling bad, but the sugar itself makes you feel worse over time. It is a harsh trap that makes it hard to break free. 8. A better future. Stopping sugar is hard. When people eat a lot of sugar for a long time and then stop, their body feels different. This is called withdrawal. It can feel like a bad headache or being very tired. People might feel angry or sad easily. They may also find it hard to think clearly or sleep well. Strong cravings for sugar are normal. These feelings can last for days or even weeks. It's a tough time for the body and the brain. The body needs to learn how to work without so much sugar. The stomach bacteria also change. The brain also needs time to adjust. At first, you might not feel much pleasure from other things, but this phase passes. But there is good news. Our brain can change and get better. This ability is called neuroplasticity. When you stop eating sugar, your brain can start to fix itself. New brain cells can grow, especially in the part of the brain for memory. This is like planting new trees in a forest. For the brain to heal, it needs help. Exercise is very important because it makes the brain grow stronger. Thinking and learning new things also help. Getting enough sleep helps the brain to repair itself. Spending time with friends and family is also good for the brain. Eating good food helps a lot.
You might start to feel better after a few weeks or months. Your memory can get better, and you might feel more energetic. Brain scans even show that the brain can grow bigger in some parts when people eat well. To truly have a better future, we need bigger changes, not just personal ones. Governments can help by making rules. For example, some places have a sugar tax. This makes sugary drinks cost more, so people buy less. It's also important for food labels to clearly show added sugars. This helps people know how much sugar is really in their food. Food companies now make foods that are very sweet to make us want more. We need to ask them to change this. Scientists are also looking for new ways to help. They are testing medicines that might protect the brain from sugar's harm. Maybe one day we will have new kinds of sweeteners that are safe. But the best way is to eat more whole, natural foods. We need to learn again to enjoy food that is not full of sugar. The recent global health crisis showed that eating too much sugar made many people less healthy. It is important to remember that our brain needs good food to work well. So as we think about how our minds work and what we eat, what is one small thing you can change in your daily life to help your brain for a better future?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.